So the 80-20 principle is not something I invented. It's I suppose been applied primarily in economics, also called a Pareto distribution. And the namesake is from Vilfredo Pareto. Was a sociologist and economist who worked in Switzerland and Italy. The 80-20 principle dictates that 80% of your desired outputs, in the context of what we're talking about, 80% of your desired outcomes and outputs will result from 20% of your inputs, your actions. And conversely, 80% of what you don't want, time-consuming tasks, negative emotional states, will come from 20% of the people and activities. So you can apply that to begin parsing out what is consuming time without adding value. And then it moves from being strategic to tactical. Then you need to actually set down the process for, let's just say, minimizing contact with certain colleagues or even superiors, or setting up systems, because the system is the solution much more so than self-discipline, which I think is too variable, to allow you to check email twice per day, let's just say. But the 80-20 principle applies to almost any topic, and it doesn't mean that it has to add up to 100. So this is a very common misconception. So if you add 80 and 20, yes, you get 100%, but that ratio doesn't, the two sides of that ratio do not need to add to 100. In other words, you could have a 95-5 ratio, meaning that 95% of your profits, 95% of your desired outcomes, 95% of your headache comes from 5% of your activities, clients, colleagues, coworkers, whatever that might be, which is very much the case when you look at profitability in product sets, oftentimes, or marketing channels, advertising, etc. But accepting that there's generally a critical few, a trivial many, and that it's your job to be effective first, doing the right things by identifying those critical few, and then efficient, getting good at doing those things, and not the other way around. I use it for almost anything, in the sense that if I can measure, which you should be able to do, a given outcome, quantitatively, let's just say that's language learning, then you'll find, rather than focusing on a method, which almost everyone, so the method would be the efficiency side of the equation. I don't focus on the method much, I'm focused on the material. So I'll identify high frequency word lists that are organized by, let's say, the Ministry of Education in Japan to identify let's just take one example, I think it's 1,475, it may be slightly different, common usage characters. If you can read those characters, which the national publications are limited to encourage literacy, you'll be able to read any mainstream publication. If you then learn the most common compounds that are formed by those characters, you have, let's say, a vocabulary of 2,000 to 3,000 words. You can learn that in the span of 3 to 4 months quite easily with a systematic approach. And you'll be better served by doing that than trying to find the perfect method and then using some default material that a textbook provides you with no rhyme, no reason. So that would be one example. The same can be athletic performance, income generation, investments, portfolio choices, risk management, hedging. I mean, I look for those types of leveraged critical few points in all of those areas.